today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the Hot Toys Marvel's Avengers Age of Ultron Black Widow. Black Widow marks what I believe the fourth release of Black Widow if you count Iron Man. And then we had, of course, the first Avengers. Then we had Captain America the Winter Soldier, and now we've got Avengers Age of Ultron. And each time, I think they get a little bit better at making the 6-scale figure look like ScarJo. The front of the box, we've got a picture of Scarlett Johansson with the big Avengers A down the side. That's a nice touch. To the side of the box, there's not really much going on there. It just says Black Widow 6-scale figure. And the back, you've got the cast and crew responsible for producing the Black Widow 6-scale figure. By the way, this is MMS 288, the 1/6-scale collectible figure. Finally, like most 6-scale figures, you can lift the top sleeve off to reveal Black Widow, I should say, all of her accessories and display stand inside. What I'm going to do is take a break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Hot Toys Avengers Age of Ultron Black Widow. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. With Black Widow, the first thing we'll, of course, have a look at is this super cool standard display stand that comes with the figure. And on the top, we've got the Avengers, and the coloring is that almost matches her outfit, with the almost that cranberry raspberry red, the Avengers logo on the top. And then on the front, we've got Marvel Avengers Age of Ultron Black Widow. It's an exceptional display stand above and beyond the standard elliptical, oval-shaped standard stand that we usually get. This is kind of in between a really dynamic stand and a standard stand, and hopefully we can see more of these in the future. So getting a better look at Black Widow here, I feel there's things I really like about the figure, and then there's things I really do not care for one bit with this figure. And probably you see right away the one thing I'm not super crazy about is her hair. The hair itself, they opted, and they usually do this with a lot of female Hot Toys figures, and not really so much sideshow figures, but they do this a lot with Hot Toys figures, is that they opt to give them doll hair. And sometimes it ends up being successful, other times it ends up being a little bit of a mess. Black Widow here, by comparisons to the previous released Black Widows, isn't bad, but I feel like the hair can just be a little bit on the rough, almost unrealistic side. Getting a look at her face, I suppose some topic of debate is whether that looks like Scarlett Johansson. I feel as almost as if probably the Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, though she did have long straight hair, I feel almost resembled Black Widow just a little bit more than the Avengers Age of Ultron version. If we move her hair out of the way, maybe it's just the hair that's doing it, but like the profile, the side profile I think looks like her, the front looks like her, but somehow, some way, I think with the hair itself, it ends up looking less like her. And maybe it's just because I don't have the hair properly, I don't know if you would properly say properly sculpted, properly posed, but something about the hair maybe is what's throwing off the face for me. It's a beautiful face sculpt, and I think it does resemble Scarlett Johansson, but I feel like there's something about that hair that's throwing it off. I almost am more to the side of having hair as a sculpted piece rather than real hair. I feel like real hair, you could just never quite get the curls, you know, the way that the hair flows. It's because it just has its natural flow to it, it ends up sometimes just taking away, I think, from the figure. And a good example I have is when you look at like figures, let's say even like the Hot Toys Joker. The Hot Toys Joker, or even the Bank Robber Joker, didn't have real hair. It had sculpted hair, but somehow it looked good on the figure because you could see all the sculpted curls, you could see all the paint areas and the recessed areas of the hair. When you start using doll hair, or the equivalent of doll hair, I find the hair has to be just done a certain way that it has to look right on the figure. And in the instructions, it actually indicates that hair product was added to the hair to give it volume, to give it like body. And it does suggest that you can go in and use hair product, but I wouldn't do it myself to actually go in and add additional hair product to try to sculpt this, because I feel like in the movie she has more, especially near the bottom of her hair, it seems like she's got more curls than straight hair. And they try to do a good enough job of doing that, but I wouldn't run the risk personally, and that's just my thing. I would not go in with hair product like I would do with human hair. I wouldn't go in there and start thinking that I was Vidal Sassoon and I could start sculpting and styling Scarlett Johansson's hair here, because I feel like that would ultimately ruin the figure. As it stands now, I almost would have opted for sculpted hair rather than doll hair. And again, that's my preference. For Black Widow's body, she has the jumpsuit that she's kind of carried over through all the movies. It varies from, movie to movie. I guess the inclusion in this particular jumpsuit is more the blue accents that she's got on her elbow pads, and she's got striping down the sides of her legs, which I believe in the movie light up, but she's got light areas down the stripe, which really defeats the whole idea of a stealth sneak up when really she's glowing. But that seems really the more departure than what we've seen with previous Black Widows, is more the inclusion of blue than like the red and the black. She's got her belt, and it's kind of got that Han Solo angled look to it, with the Black Widow crest on the front. And she's got a couple of holsters on the sides, one which will hold her gun. She's got her boots, which I feel could be comfortable enough for her to be running around in. It's not like Catwoman with high heels, where she's running around and you're thinking, oh man, that must be uncomfortable. I could see at least these being practical boots that Black Widow would be running around in. They've gone as far as dirtied the bottom of the soles as well as dirtied the areas around the heel to give it the look that she would have been wearing these in the trenches. The look of the jumpsuit is almost like a woven material, but then it's got little areas on the sides, little strip areas on the sides that have a faux leather look to it. She's got the zipper on the front, and I wouldn't lower the zipper any further than this. This kind of really reminds me also of the Sideshow Collectibles Catwoman. And Catwoman, I found I had a tough time, to get the zipper further up. Black Widow, I think, is a little smaller in the torso area here, that it's a little easier to accommodate the zipper. But I wouldn't say, don't be a pervert about it. I wouldn't have the zipper probably any lower than that. I think that's a good height for it. And then as for other little accessories, she's got the gauntlets on her arms, accented in the cranberry, again, that kind of burgundy cranberry color. Overall, it's a good looking body. Not really sure again on the hair. To be perfectly honest, actually kind of where I've got it right now, though only through the process of us looking at it in this video, it's kind of at the point where it looks pretty good. I wouldn't mess it around at anything after that, but as it stands right now, the hair's not bad. So when it comes to Black Widow's accessories, she does come with the following. She comes with not only one, but two of her batons, and these batons are, well, they're retracted. They're not extended out, and as you see in the movie, she just kind of pops them and they pop open, and she's got, and I just dropped one, but she's got the batons that extend out. Segueing ourselves then to the extended out, and again, they're just like zap batons. They're pretty cool. I mean, they've got a translucent, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there's the blue itself is a translucent blue, and then it's separated by the shinier areas of the black where the baton would have been extended out. They don't accommodate these particular hands, oh no they don't, but one of the hands that she does come with will be able to hold both batons. Speaking of hands though, Black Widow has an additional 6 hands. One's ranging from gripping hands suitable for her weapons. She's got more hands suitable for holding the batons, and she's got a couple of closed fists. I don't really tend to display a lot of figures with closed fists, but she has those options available if you want. Like with any other Hot Toy figure, Hot Toys also gives you a couple extra hand pegs should you be taking the hands out, and of course they can be finicky at times taking the hands out. Sometimes the pegs want to stay inside. You've got extras, or in case they break, you've got a couple extras to go by. She's also got a couple of electricity attachments that you can add on to her gauntlets. If you remember, she's fighting and her gauntlets have electricity all in them. And to accomplish that, what you want to do, it's easier to probably take the hands completely off, then take the electricity, run it up onto the gauntlet, and then go ahead and replace the hand. It stays pretty good. I mean, sometimes if you move it too much, it does want to flop around, but if you get it far enough onto the gauntlet to about, I would say about there, it does stay on there really well. Same thing, the other hand, we can pop that off, slide this up, pretty much slide it up as far as it will go. And when you hit resistance, that tells you to stop. And you can just leave it there. And she's got it going like that. It's okay. I mean, it's neat, and I always say this, it's neat when they include a ton of accessories. Even accessories I wouldn't think for a second, okay, would I ever display her with that? Probably not. But it's neat that they would have included those, that you can add them to her wrists. It's a nice touch. Not one I would display her with, but it's well appreciated. Another accessory to come included with Black Widow is she comes with this little dagger. Now, if you think to yourself this is going to get lost, no doubt it will. There's a little peg on the back of the dagger. You can reach around to the figure's belt, and it clips right on the side there. There's like a little, let me remove it for a second. There's a little groove area there. Basically, it's just like a clamp, and you can peg that just into the side of the belt. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get it in there, but you can display it like that. She also gets herself a small pistol with the top actually movable, and this back section can move forward or front or back, I should say. And if you aren't displaying her with that, you can take the pistol and slide it into the side holster, which is ultimately where I likely will end up keeping it. The reason why I would likely keep the pistol there is because she also comes with these these pair of really big guns. Almost excessively big how big these are. They can't fit into her hand, but just like, look how menacing these firearms are. There's daggers on the top there, two-handled, and this handle back here can fold forward. It doesn't look as if there's any other moving parts to it, but they're painted really cool. It looks like it's got more alien tech than something that's got a real world application, but if she's going to be carrying any firearms, you might as well go in with really big guns ablazing. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if maybe the arms, or at least the firearms, are a little too big for her. Not that she can't certainly wield firearms this big, but I don't know, it seems like an excessive amount of firepower to be carrying into battle. No, I feel if anything, I would probably be displaying her more so with the batons. It just seems more something I would have, if anything, I'm displaying her with the other Avengers, I'd likely would be displaying her with this. It's really cool, don't get me wrong, that they would give you such large firepower to be given with Black Widow, but I ultimately may just display her with the batons. I think it's just a better look for her. When it comes to Black Widow's poseability, her head is on a ball joint. I feel as if there is a double ball joint, one likely in the cavity of her head and then one at the base of her neck. By the way, also, I didn't mention this before, but her torso area, I don't know how far it reaches down, but the neck as well as the chest area is overlaid in a rubbery plastic, so you can't see any of the joints there. It's pretty effective, but this whole section here is rubbery, and the whole time I'm doing this, I know I'm messing up her hair. There we go, just straighten that up as best we can. When it comes to her shoulders hinge out. They don't seem at all restricted by the uniform that she's wearing. It is, however, until you start rotating her arms forward, and then that's when you start seeing that they're a little bit more restricted. They move to about there and forward, but anything past that point, I wouldn't be adding a lot of stress to the shoulder if I was you, if I were you. She does have a swivel point at the top of the bicep. She has a double bend in the elbow. She has a swivel and hinge in each individual hand. She has an upper torso crunch and a swivel in the waist, though as you would probably expect it, a little again on the more limited side. Finally, when it comes to her legs hinge forward and back. One thing you probably will see, if I move her arms out of the way, when you move the leg forward, the little strapping here that connects to her belt, to her harness holster here, is on its own separate piece. It seems to be very forgiving when you move the legs all the way out and forward and back. It doesn't seem like it wants to get in the way, so that's good. I worry about this maybe breaking in time, but so far it seems okay. The legs are on a double hinge in the knee. And finally, though she has a plastic boot that limits some poseability, she does have a hinge rooted deep inside the foot there. Though I'm still not sure if I'm crazy about the doll hair that they opted with on Scarlett Johansson here. Maybe Black Widow could have worked just as well with pre-sculpted plastic hair. I know that's kind of iffy when it comes to female characters, because a lot of times it seems like female Hot Toys tend to get the doll hair, male Hot Toys tend to get sculpted plastic hair. I'm trying to think of a couple examples where a female had plastic sculpted hair. Well, the Sideshow Collectibles Baroness did, though more not rooted in reality. I think it could have been pulled off for Scarlett Johansson here, or I should say Black Widow. The doll hair is not a bad, it doesn't really ruin the figure, but I have to wonder what it may have looked like if she didn't have the real doll hair and if it was sculpted instead. Maybe it could have been pulled off, but now this is, well, the fourth figure in for Black Widow. Maybe it's a better figure than the Winter Soldier Black Widow. I have never picked up Black Widow from Winter Soldier knowing that they were going to release Black Widow as an Avengers Age of Ultron release. And sure enough, they did. I ultimately picked her up because she was the more current release. And I like the curly hair on Black Widow versus the straight hair. I'm not sure if I would say that this one looks more realistic than the other one. I feel like I could give that still to the Winter Soldier Black Widow as a more accurate portrayal of Scarlett Johansson. Still, it's a great figure, and especially if you're collecting the other 6-scale Hot Toys from Avengers Age of Ultron, it makes sense to include this Black Widow versus some of the ones that predated this one's release. Today's collectible spot, overall I think I'm happy with the figure, as maybe a little disappointed with the hair, but I think I could still manage that. Today's collectible spot, we were having a look at the Avengers Age of Ultron, the 6-scale figure of Black Widow from Hot Toys. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more collectible spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.